I am the king and will not be. I am the king and will not.
Starting off this season very differently, I actually got an offer from Glasgow Rangers, and everyone knows I was going to take it. I met up with the current manager and made him some deals he really couldn't refuse. So shamelessly, I sold every single one of my team to Glasgow Rangers and then went and stole the man's job. All I've got to do now is just wait for the transfer window to open and Jacobs and everyone should be here too. But for now, I've got to work with this. I can make do.
Ushering in a new era at the club. Can he bring fresh ideas?
So I absolutely did not bring any fresh ideas. It was actually more of the same. I replaced the older folks with the youth, and I was remarkably surprised by Glasgow Rangers' youth team. Now this is the standard Glasgow Rangers team I had when I moved here. None of these are any of my transfers. And they're still able to do stuff like this. Looking at the Rangers team, most of them actually have potential to hit 80s and 90s already. They have the best youth squad I've ever seen. It's just going to be a matter of time. Not to mention money. But I've got a plan for that. Selling the entire Glasgow Rangers team got me just under 100 million, considering I was going to transfer my entire Crew Alexander team here. I just sold everyone to everywhere, and you would not believe the prices people wanted for these Rangers players. Oh yeah, talking about prices, look at Jacobs now. I then went around, started searching all Liverpool, Manchester City and Manchester United's team, trying to find some young players that I could transfer over before they kind of realised their potential. Another Jacobs, you might say. Teams like this would happily purchase 60 to 80 million pound players that were already established, then work on their youth team. So it only cost me a couple of million to take some of the best youths I've seen in a while. And I had time to train these up. The entire first half of the season was pretty much me doing as much purchasing as I could. Then my A-team finally arrived. Jacobs is here, rocking a 95 rating, and Burstow, who is rapidly approaching a 90 rating himself. The thing is with the Scottish Premier League, in my opinion of course, the only team you will really need to worry about is Celtic. But with 250 million in the bank, I don't even think they could cause much of a problem. So I finally got my brand new office up in Glasgow, and I had to invite the number one person who's pretty much responsible for my success, Jurgen Klopp. Now this guy loaned me Darwin Núñez, which I will not stop mentioning, and that's what helped me win the league, get noticed, and, well, get to where I am. So it should be a surprise to nobody when I say we made a few sneaky deals here as well. Now all my new players were instantly introduced to Burstow and Jacobs, which was kind of cool. I then sold the last remaining players and replaced them with the Liverpool youth team. My plan is to make Rangers one of the most powerful, wealthiest teams on this entire game. Then when that's done, I'm going to make my way back to the Premier League in the form of Liverpool. My endgame is going to be managing Liverpool. And so far, I'm thinking I'm going to let Rangers keep this entire team, and I'm going to let them keep all their money. So Rangers should be set up for a very long time.
The tension is palpable and you can understand why. Two high-level sides about to face each other, and it's anyone's guess how this is going to end up. Stay with us, we'll have all the action live on EA TV.
One thing I did notice about the Scottish Premier League, Rangers and Celtic were always neck and neck, so any small changes would push Rangers into the favourable position. £250 million plus Jacobs and Burstow. That's definitely doing something. So the league wasn't going to be much of a problem. Rangers are always first or second anyway, and I feel like I'd done enough to kind of push them to the number one spot. I needed something better. Now I'm going for a cup. And the Scottish Cup is something I'm only ever going to be able to achieve once, because I'm not going to be in the Scottish League for very long. So in this video, I'm going to make Glasgow Rangers the richest, most powerful team on this entire game. Oh yeah, and we're going to win the Scottish Cup. I have come a long way, and I am no longer the clueless idiot that got sacked by Wrexham. One thing I was actually noticing throughout this game, our attack is doing okay, but our defence is problematic. I really need to rework the Glasgow Rangers defence and goalkeeper. That goalkeeper's got to go, and the defence, they need an upgrade. That was becoming more and more obvious by the next couple of games. We should not be conceding this much. It was getting to the point where a few big teams were making some very sensible offers for my players. But I wasn't willing to sell anyone until I'd achieved what I needed to. The Scottish Cup. The good thing is, which I mentioned before, the only real threat in this league is Celtic and Aberdeen on a good day. This meant that the new and improved Glasgow Rangers I'd created could pretty much handle any team thrown at them, which meant the Scottish League was really easy, and the Scottish Cup wasn't going to be too difficult either. But that made me think, am I really challenging myself if I'm going for stuff that I know I can win? I constantly had Jacobs in midfield to kind of hold the whole team together. I had Burstow up front because he was turning into one of the best strikers in the game. And every single person on the pitch other than them were youngsters. They were new youth starts that were eventually going to be able to carry. And thanks to a Klopp assist, I managed to fix out my defence. I was happy about that one.
The stadium is buzzing already, and with good cause. Two top sides ready to go at it, and this should be something special on the pitch. The story of the game as it unfolds, live next on EA TV.
So next in the Scottish Cup, we ended up with Hearts, and that was going to be a relatively easy one, I thought. Do you know what, thinking about it, I don't think I've ever won an FA Cup. I don't know why that's only just come to mind now, but I've never won the FA Cup. I need to fix that. Anyway, for now, Glasgow Rangers were doing really well on pretty much every front. In complete honesty, it was the first time playing this game I left at the start of a game, made myself a coffee, come back up, and I was like, oh yeah, we're winning again. It wasn't like they were incapable of causing problems, but when you had someone like Vincent Jacobs up front, that was a man that had a solution for every problem. And we comfortably sat out a 5-1 victory, and every game that I played increased the skill of every single person on the pitch. I was only going to get better as I went on. This match here was relatively boring. It was a last minute decider that kind of won us the game, but it wasn't worth showing. I was actually quite disappointed in how long it took to beat this team.
And surely we witness the goal that will take them through to the final, and Scottish exceeds here.
Nevertheless, it did see us through to the final, and it looked like we knew who it was going to be. So, league games out the way, we're back onto the final against, you guessed it. Now, this is the only decent team in this league, and the only team that actually could kind of beat me, so I put a lot of thought into this. I also had a press conference where I kind of just badmouthed the manager and the team. I badmouthed everything Celtic related. However, I was reminded that I had already won the league, and this was kind of just a bonus.
A glittering occasion. It is the final, but only one side can emerge victorious. Who's it going to be?
Now, I'm guessing a lot of people are expecting me to say that this was a really tight final and it was really intense and we nearly lost, but in reality, we took the lead within the first 3 minutes and we didn't really look like we were going to lose it. Now, I don't know what inside these Rangers players just unlocked against Celtic, but it was an embarrassing display. Like, we dominated them. Considering this was a team that was neck and neck with Rangers for the league, the cups, and pretty much everything, to see our team come out and just embarrass them like this, I felt like I'd already kind of done quite a lot for this team. Not to mention the new keeper I got. This guy is really good. But it was one of those games where they had a lot of attacking power. They attacked us a lot. They just didn't really score, but they were always going to get at least one back on us. So, my farewell gift to Celtic, I let Brendan Rodgers have 5 minutes of happiness before I continued killing his team. Sadly, that was pretty much the Scottish Cup finals. Rangers v Celtic, surprise surprise, and the team with £250 million budget triumphed. A lot of shockers in this video.
Right, look at these scenes.
Well, on the evidence of the game as well, they deserve it. They were excellent throughout. What a good performance that was. Well, this is special for everybody at the club. What a great moment for any young player. And this is what you dream about when you start playing football. When you're playing in the playground, you want to win a cup. Brilliant moment.
For the trophy lift itself. The cup winners.
Well, you can just see what it means to those players and the manager. That's fantastic stuff.
Full marks to the entire team, and now they get the chance to exhale and enjoy.
Turns out I won the cup and I won the league. Admittedly, this did feel a bit cheap, right? It didn't feel like the victory I was used to getting. So Rangers were always like the first or second team. I knew their only opposition was Celtic, and I knew by transferring Jacobs and Burstow I would have no competition. Therefore, for me to win the league and to win the cup, that's not an achievement, that's an observation. The only reason I say that is because I noticed that Glasgow Rangers were actually capable of beating Bayern Munich, which is impressive. And then I continued down the UEFA Champions League, only to be scoring absolute belters against teams like Inter Milan and all sorts. Now, looking at the teams left, the only teams I wasn't fancying facing were Manchester City and Barcelona. However, I have never beaten Barcelona. I've never been manager of a team that has defeated Barcelona. And if I truly want to be a world-class manager, one day I'm going to have to do that. And with people like Vincent Jacobs still doing stuff like this after God knows how many years, I don't see why I couldn't. I mean, look at that, Burstow. You cannot give him an inch with that ball. So yeah, all these high-end teams were getting defeated like 4-5-0, but this was the real test. This was Manchester United, and I've had my eye on the Premier League, and I know what teams are up there. Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United. Surprise, surprise. Now, I went into this game with zero faith. It's actually shameful how I went into this game. Now, Manchester United, I bought a few players from here, and I've seen their team, and there's a reason why they sold me those players. They didn't need them. They have a good team. I was expecting a defeat. After the first goal, my entire team started to get a bit more hyped up, and I really liked how we were playing football. This was one of the first games where I felt like my entire team were playing really well. Oh yeah, keep an eye on Ruiz here. Ruiz? The other striker. He's good. Speaking of good, we kind of let Man United mess around with the ball for a bit because they weren't really doing anything. They were just constantly getting the ball taken off of them. And that was a mistake. Don't do that. What a goal. So yeah, now we've officially pissed around to the point where one of the best Premier League teams is right on our tail. Not a smart move. However, every game has that one moment that you're always going to remember. For me, that was Barlow. He scored past his old team United. Now, Barlow was one of the players I left with Crew Alexandra because he looked really good and I wanted them to have something when I left. But then he looked too good, so then I wanted him with me. So yeah, that's how Barlow got in the team. So first leg, we actually beat Man United 4-2. I did not see that coming. Burstow scoring a hat-trick. I probably could have predicted that one though. And the second leg was 0-0. So after that, I ended up with Juventus. Every single game I was going into, I was thinking this is it. This is where I go down. I mean, this is Glasgow Rangers. I respect them and I know they're good, but this is Juventus. My fears were confirmed with a very early goal and us just being dominated the entire game. Not that my own team didn't play well, but we just couldn't break through their defence. So if you haven't figured it out at this point, I am not proud of the Scottish Premier League win. I'm not too proud of the Scottish Cup win. But I will be extremely proud if by some miracle we win the UEFA Champions League Cup. I mean, look at that. Look at that header. You can't get closer than that. We played so well and it wasn't good enough. Nevertheless, we did have a second leg and maybe I could kind of sort out those tactics I'm always complaining about. Now, this match, my team played terrible and their team played terrible. I mean, this is a good goal by Barlow, but I don't know what anyone was doing. What was anyone doing there? Yeah, so basically we had a game where every goalkeeper just decided that they didn't want to play, and we got some goals.
Well, fasten your seatbelts. It's going to take a shootout to settle the outcome in this extraordinary semi-final.
So yeah, a bit of deja vu here. This is all going to depend on a penalty shootout. I enjoy penalty shootouts. They're entertaining to watch and they're also anxiety-inducing, so it keeps my blood pressure high.
And so the penalty shootout about to commence. And as a player, well, the Panenka has duly fooled the goalkeeper. He had to score, and he does. Can he remain calm? And he finds the net. He could hardly miss. Oh, brilliant goalkeeping. Clinical as always, in front of goal. And he steps up to take his penalty. Oh, he saved it! A goal here to finish it. And the outcome they were hoping for. They've made it through to the final.
Well, that was a really confident penalty with so much at stake, and I think the better team have gone through here.
See, it absolutely upsets me how little I show Mbappe. Not that Mbappe, this is Rangers' own Mbappe. He's good, but he's not quite good enough to outshine people like Jacob, so he doesn't really get a lot of screen time. Noticing that Manchester City had also made it into the finals, I had nothing else to do but to badmouth them to everyone. We also beat Celtic. I included that just so you know how good we are. Or maybe that's why I included this, the player of the season. And it was Burstow. Now, I half expected to see Jacobs up here, but you know what? Burstow deserves it, and have you seen his goals? Yeah, he deserves it. This is long overdue. Now back to the UEFA Champions League, and I'm in the finals with a clean sheet leader. I got behind the cameras once again and told City I was going to beat them.
Excitement enveloping everyone here, because it is a huge occasion. The Champions League final. Who's going to be crowned Club Kings of Europe? Follow every twist and turn right here on EA TV.
So here we are, the finals. I have won the Scottish Premier League, I've won the Scottish Cup, and this will be the first time I've ever won the UEFA Champions League, so I'm doing okay with Rangers. Good enough to the point, if I win this, I think I could happily leave for Liverpool and feel like I'd done enough for this club. I mean, 5 minutes in and we ended up scoring. It wasn't the greatest of goals, but nobody's going to care once we lift that cup. Also, I got half of my defense from Pep Guardiola, and his attack couldn't break through them, so proof that you should really just train up your youths instead of buying names. I mean, I'm pretty sure every single player I have now that I'm most proud of, obviously Jacobs, Burstow, you know, the player of the season, they were all youths. They were really young, they had no rating, I trained them up and I've kept them with me for years. And I don't know if I should be saying this because it might be a bit of a spoiler, but I've been watching the Premier League and the only other manager with the same type of idea is Jurgen Klopp, so if I do get the Liverpool job, I can't wait to see what type of team he's rocking now. And one thing that would really help my Liverpool job is if Manchester City didn't win this. They don't need the extra funds. I can see their team. I don't like it as it is. But yeah, look at that. My 70 and 80 defenders holding off Manchester City. And my goalkeeper definitely deserves his name out there. And then it happened. And it's always the headers. It's almost like I need some taller defenders. But for now, all I could do is rely on my strikers. And one thing I've learned at Glasgow Rangers, the strikers don't let you down. Not for long. So I had two options here. I could park the bus, go defensive and make sure they don't get any goals back, or I could go all out attack and just kind of see what happens. I went for the attack. Maybe I should have made this clear from the start of the video as well, but I am incredibly ill lately. I've not long got out of hospital, so if I do sound groggy, that is what it is. Don't blame the audio, it's a one episode thing hopefully. As we come towards the new FIFA being released and not much more I can do in this game, I think all that's left is the International Cup and to see what I can do with Liverpool. But there may only be one or two more videos of this series, and this was actually one of my fastest growing series, which really surprised me. I didn't think a lot of people would be interested in FIFA Manager mode, you don't really see a lot of it. But no, it's done amazing for my channel.
Has a go. And it's all over. They've only gone and won the Champions League to the delight of their fans. Magnificent scenes here.
Well, just look at the reaction of these players. This is what they wanted before the game, beginning of the tournament as well. They've been absolutely magnificent.
They have earned the right to call themselves European club champions. A first-class performance. And now, for the moment, every footballer dreams on as they make their way towards the Champions League trophy.
Well, before the game, this is what they were looking forward to. They really did play well today.
You're looking at the Champions League winners. And it never gets tiring, does it, for the victors?
Absolutely not. They're going to enjoy these moments now. So are the fans as well. They've deserved it. In the course of the tournament, they've been the best team.
Well, the celebrations are ongoing. I don't think they're going to be brought to an end anytime soon, as they say for the moment with their supporters.
They've certainly played their part, the fans. They deserve to be involved with these celebrations. They've made so much noise here.
And now for the photographs that will surely stand the test of time.
What a great achievement for this club. These are photos that are going to be cherished for a long time to come.
So it is done, I have achieved greatness, I am the winner. And before I leave Rangers, I think it's fair that I make them some money. So I sold Mason Burstow and Vincent Jacobs. So basically, I've got Glasgow Rangers a total of 600 to 700 million in this video. They already had 300 odd million, those two just sold for about 300 odd million, and there I go, off to Liverpool. There you go, I'm a man of my word. I made Glasgow Rangers the strongest, most richest team in the world.